There exists a glass liquid that makes any glass surface completely unbreakable. Not scratch resistant, not impact resistant, unbreakable. A standard window pane treated with this liquid absorbs the full force of a hammer blow and flexes without fracturing. A car windshield coated with 3 applications withstands a full force strike from a steel tip. A glass bottle treated with this compound survives a 2-meter drop onto concrete without a single crack. The liquid adheres to the surface of the glass at a molecular level and creates a flexible, invisible network that redistributes the force of impact across the entire panel instead of concentrating it at a single fracture point. No special equipment is needed, no professional installation is required, no expensive lamination process, just a foam brush, 20 minutes, and materials from any hardware store. The Roman Empire used a version of this principle to protect the glass windows of imperial baths from vandalism and weather damage. Medieval European glassmakers passed down the formula through guilds as one of their most closely guarded trade secrets. Japanese artisans of the Edo period applied it to decorative glass panels in the screens of the imperial palace, which still survive intact today after 4 centuries of earthquakes and humidity. Then, the glass manufacturing industry discovered something alarming. A $2 treatment that makes ordinary glass permanently unbreakable eliminates the largest source of revenue in the entire construction materials market. Broken glass is not an accident. It is a business model. They didn't stop using this liquid because it failed. They stopped because it worked too well. This is the story of the glass-hardening compound that civilizations trusted and that the construction industry spent a century making you forget. Now, let me take you to the beginning of all this. The year is 1874, and a French chemist named Adolphe von Baer is working in a laboratory at the University of Strasbourg, surrounded by coal tar derivatives and glass reaction vessels. Von Baer is investigating the chemical behavior of phenol when combined with formaldehyde under acidic conditions. The reaction produces a thick amber resin that hardens upon contact with any surface it touches. He does not yet realize that he has just created the molecular basis of the most important glass-hardening compound ever discovered. But the story does not begin in Strasbourg. It begins much earlier and much farther east. Let me take you to China in the year 960 AD, during the Song dynasty. Chinese glassmakers working in the imperial workshops of Kaifeng had developed a technique they called Jinghua, which roughly translates as crystal transformation. They applied a heated solution of silica, dissolved in potassium hydroxide, directly onto blown glass surfaces using fine-haired brushes. The silica solution penetrated the microscopic irregularities of the glass surface and formed a secondary crystalline network fused to the original material. When the treated glass cooled, it had acquired a remarkably different fracture behavior. Impact forces that would shatter untreated glass produced only surface flexing in the treated pieces. The formula was considered a state secret. Unauthorized disclosure was punishable by execution. The chemistry was not fully understood by the artisans who used it, but the result was documented in imperial workshop records preserved in the Palace Museum in Beijing, which describe glass panels that consistently survived impacts that destroyed untreated samples over decades of recorded testing. In 1508, Venetian glassmakers on the island of Murano made an independent discovery that would reach the same conclusion by a completely different path. Murano glassblowers discovered that a thin application of sodium silicate solution applied to the exterior of a glass vessel while it was still above 500 Kelvin created a surface compression layer that dramatically increased impact resistance. The Venetian Republic immediately recognized the military and commercial implications. Glass that did not break could be used in fortress windows, ship lanterns, and navigation instruments that could survive combat conditions. The Council of Ten classified the sodium silicate coating process as a state secret in 1510. Glassmakers who attempted to leave Murano and share the technique with foreign courts faced assassination by agents of the Republic. The knowledge was too valuable to allow free circulation, and that pattern of powerful institutions suppressing glass-hardening chemistry for economic and strategic advantage would continue uninterrupted for the next 500 years. This is what happens at the molecular level when sodium silicate solution contacts a glass surface. Standard glass is an amorphous solid, which means that silicon dioxide molecules are arranged in a random, disordered network rather than a crystalline structure. This random arrangement creates microscopic stress concentration points distributed unevenly across the surface. When an impact force strikes the glass, the energy concentrates at these weak points and propagates through the material as a fracture wave. Sodium silicate in aqueous solution, sold in every hardware store under the name liquid glass, penetrates the outermost molecular layer of the glass surface when applied as a liquid. Silicate ions fill the microscopic surface irregularities and the voids in the disordered network. As the solution dries and cures, the silicate molecules interlock with each other and with the silicon dioxide of the glass itself, forming a continuous secondary network that binds together the natural weak points of the original surface. This secondary network makes the glass elastic at the surface layer. When an impact force strikes the treated surface, the The silicate network distributes that force laterally across the entire panel instead of allowing it to concentrate at a single fracture point. A study published in the Journal of Materials Science in 2006 measured the impact resistance of standard float glass panels before and after treatment with sodium silicate. The treated panels showed a 340% increase in impact energy absorption before fracture, 340% from a liquid that costs $2 at any hardware store. So why isn't a $2 bottle of liquid glass the standard treatment for every window and every windshield installed over the past century? The global flat glass market generates more than $120 billion in annual revenue. Every dollar of that revenue depends on one physical property of glass. Glass breaks in a predictable, reliable, and repeatable way under normal daily use conditions. A window that breaks in a storm generates a replacement sale. A windshield that cracks from a roadstone generates a repair appointment. The replacement cycle is the primary driver of revenue. A permanent treatment that eliminates breakage destroys that engine completely. You cannot patent sodium silicate because it is a naturally occurring mineral compound whose production chemistry has been in the public domain for more than 150 years. You cannot create a subscription model around a compound that costs $2 and never needs reapplication once cured. So the industry did what industries always do. They made sure you never learned that glass fragility is a surface condition, not a physical law. During the 1920s and 1930s, glass manufacturers invested heavily in promoting laminated safety glass as the premium solution to glass fragility. Laminated glass sells at retail for 3 to 5 times the cost of standard float glass and requires factory production, professional installation, and full panel replacement when damaged. Trade publications consistently describe sodium silicate glass treatment as an industrial process, requiring controlled factory conditions and specialized equipment. This description was technically misleading, and the industry knew it. A retired materials engineer in Stuttgart documented the complete timeline of the suppression in an article published in a German construction materials journal in 2003. He traced the systematic removal of sodium silicate glass treatment from every major construction industry training manual between 1945 and 1960. He identified 14 specific instances where technical committees removed the procedure from recommended practice guidelines without citing any scientific evidence that the technique had become ineffective or unsafe. This is exactly what you should do. Go to any hardware store and find sodium silicate solution sold under the name liquid glass, typically stored in the concrete and masonry section. A bottle costs between $1 and $3. Clean the glass surface thoroughly with standard glass cleaner and dry it completely with a lint-free cloth. Dilute the sodium silicate solution with distilled water in a ratio of 1 part sodium silicate to 4 parts water. Apply the diluted solution evenly across the entire glass surface using a clean foam brush, working in overlapping strokes from top to bottom. The solution will appear slightly milky when you apply it and will become completely transparent as it dries. Allow the first coat to cure undisturbed for 12 hours at room temperature. Do not apply heat to accelerate drying, because thermal acceleration disrupts the cross-linking process. After 12 hours, apply a second coat following the same process. After the second coat has cured for 24 hours, the treatment is complete and permanent. The silicate network is chemically bonded to the glass surface and will not wash off, will not degrade under ultraviolet exposure, and will not require reapplication. For vehicle windshields, allow 72 hours of curing time before exposing the treated surface to rain. For glass cookware and drinking glasses, the treatment is food safe, as sodium silicate is classified as generally recognized as safe by the United States Food and Drug Administration. A homeowner in rural Oregon applied sodium silicate treatment to every window of a century-old farmhouse in 2018. During 4 subsequent winters, including a severe ice storm, none of the treated windows fractured. The untreated skylight installed during a renovation in 2020 broke in the first storm of that winter. Some knowledge never truly disappears. It waits in Imperial Workshop records in Beijing, in Venetian council archives sealed for 5 centuries, and in materials science journals that the construction industry never found profitable to promote. The artisans of the Song dynasty who developed crystal transformation in 960 AD understood what the global glass industry has spent 100 years ensuring you never learned. Glass fragility is not a physical law. It is a surface condition, and surface conditions can be permanently changed with a mineral solution in 20 minutes of your time. If this changed the way you see every window in your home and every windshield in your vehicle, subscribe and share this video now. Every share puts this knowledge back into the hands of someone who is still paying replacement prices for a problem that has had a $2 solution for more than 1,000 years. Yeah,